Yo, what is up, everyone? We are back for Funny You Should Say chat. I have Mikhail Kanaka and Yanni with me. Venner seems MIA as well as Obi King, unfortunately, but the show must go on. We've been on a bit of a break. That's my fault and Yanni's fault, but we're back now. And and we're just gonna have a nice little chat, ladies and gentlemen. I think Mikhail has a lot to get off his chest. He's been in the box for a few weeks, so now he's ready to rant and rave. So everybody that is fans of Mikhail can ask questions, and I'm sure Mikhail will have a lot to say. Yeah.
Well, firstly, you could have warned me about the intro. Holy fuck, that was loud.
I told you.
I actually turned it down a bit. I turned it down. I edited it. I brought it down.
Oh, if it was any louder, it could have been an EFF protest. I was looking around for water cannons. Holy shit, that was loud.
Joe's intro, and I mean it's no reflection of the content, but you know when you sometimes watch a trailer to a movie and the trailer is absolutely amazing, and then you go and watch the movie and the movie's crap. Like that's how I feel about the intro, Joe. No, I'm kidding. The intro is nice. I like it.
What the fuck, Yanni?
I like it. I'm teasing, but no, the intro is cool. And you did make it, Mikhail, it was a lot louder. Like, it was a lot louder. Like,
so it is lower.
Yeah, it's lower. It's still well, I don't know. It's not as, maybe Mikhail's settings is a bit high, but it's not that loud for me. I didn't freak out now when you switched.
Even me, I didn't. I was like, no, it's fine. I don't know, Mikhail, maybe your ears are sensitive or your settings are too high. Obi King just sent me a message to the group and says that his Wi-Fi is completely shut down. There's a cable problem. He's been struggling all day. So I just said, okay.
His Wi-Fi is down because there's a cable problem? Just explain it to me.
If he has fiber.
I literally read what he just said.
No, I'm teasing. Saying that the wireless isn't working.
You're trying to be funny. I see.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying.
So, Mikhail, how have you been? We haven't chatted in a while.
I've been busy. Well, I haven't seen you since the Mrs. 30th. Once again, thank you for coming through. It was a lot of fun. I've been busy. So I bought another Mercedes-Benz to basically restore and sell again, so that's been keeping me stupidly busy. And then with the lockdown lifting, I'm starting to do the planning for Cars and Coffee again at our local brewery. So I want to get that going again because that's a lovely Sunday out.
Any chance for some stand-up comedy?
I still need to go see them about that, and I have to go to Locomotion in Somerset West as well this week. You can shake your head as much as you want. I'm first focusing on things that make me money, and then I'll focus on things that are fun.
Fair enough.
So I hopefully get to go to Locomotion tomorrow. Hopefully, if the day works out as planned. But luckily, a friend of mine had his bachelor's at Locomotion on Sunday, so I did see the owner and told him I really would like to see him this week. So hopefully it will be tomorrow, so we can sort that out. But no, it's just been busy between work and sorting out the Mercedes because it went from the workshop to the panel beater, and I bought the car with basically half a car included. So I'm stripping everything of value from the doors and other parts I got, and obviously everything that's valuable I'm busy trying to sell now, like a spare set of headlights, and I've got complete glass for the whole car and things like that. So I've been busy while you've been gallivanting up north with Yanni and Herman and trying to shoot.
Hey, well, I didn't do a bad job.
We have proof.
Yeah.
That Joe's not too bad.
Yes, we also have proof of you helping him mid-shooting with his posture.
Yeah, a little bit. Just want to make sure that, semi-safe.
Because those first 8 rounds that he fired, I'm like, is Joe pregnant? Because he's leaning way too far back.
We tried. We
Funny.
tried. So tell me, do you do you how many Mercs do you have? Jack? Do you collect?
Well,
Do you collect? Or do
so
you restore and sell? Or
yeah, so my father and I, we have a collection ourselves where we go in 50-50 on the cars. So there we have 5 Mercedes. But the nice thing is my dad stays abroad, so I get to use my 50% of the cars
100%.
a lot more often than he does. And then every, let's say, 6 to 10 weeks, I buy a Mercedes Benz, do 1 or 2 repairs, whether it's bodywork or mechanical, and then I advertise and resell it. Yes, I make a profit, and obviously I wouldn't do it if it wasn't worth it financially. But it's also a lot of fun because I get to see what the car looked like when I started with it, and then I'm part of the whole process. And then I have the finished product and delivering it, and then the car going to a good home. So far, I've been lucky enough. Every Mercedes Benz I've bought and sold has gone to good homes, whether it be collectors, whether it be Mercedes Benz club members, or just people that they've always wanted to own a classic Mercedes Benz and now they have the finances to pull the trigger. So it's also just a lot of fun and very, very involving. And I'm busy drawing up my business plan because I am aiming to hopefully by the end of next year, at the latest, to do this full time.
oh, nice. Okay,
Wow,
so you're
that'd be
obviously doing
awesome.
classic Mercedes when you say. So
Yeah.
what is classics, like pre-90s or something? Or?
Well, the normal argument is any Mercedes Benz or any car of certain value, whether it be rarity or spec, is about 25 years. So for me, buying and selling, I look between about 75 and 95, maybe up to 2000. But it's also quite an affordable range because there are Mercedes from the 70s and 80s that are 200,000-300,000 rand, but I'm not willing to tackle those yet. It's a lot of money to have in one car. So I'm still playing with the entry level ones, but the profit margin is good, and the cars I've chosen so far, every time I buy, first need very little work, luckily, and secondly, the parts are quite freely available.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I want to tackle the really expensive ones, the coupes, and strange enough, the classic Mercedes-Benz station wagons are very rare, and they bring in good money. But because I'm still doing this part-time, I don't want to have so much money fixed on one car because it's a lot of money to put into one thing and hoping it sells in the time you want it to sell.
And is there a market like for it where somebody would approach you and say, "Hey, looking for a Merc, but I want it to come up, all shiny on the other side," and then you put in all the effort to make it happen, right?
There is a market for it.
Asks.
I've been very lucky, and I always feel a bit guilty saying that. Lockdown has been, with regards to buying and selling classic Mercedes-Benz or interesting Mercedes-Benz, lockdown has been surprisingly good to me because a few people have put their cars up for sale because they can't maintain it or they can't afford the fuel, because unless you buy a diesel, Mercedes-Benz, it's not always been, especially the older ones, aren't the most fuel-efficient cars. And I've been able to pick them up for good prices, and the people I sell to are the type of people that actually do have the money lying around to spend on a well-sorted Mercedes-Benz. So there is a market for it. And in the Helderberg, where I stay, which is obviously a region in the Western Cape, there isn't a Mercedes-Benz, or there isn't a classic Mercedes-Benz specialist. We have a Mercedes-Benz specialist, a person I know very well. He's very, very good at what he does, but he does your more contemporary Mercedes-Benz with regard cars that need diagnostics and have quite a few electronics controlling it. Whereas the cars that I buy and sell, the most advanced thing you have is it might have fuel injection and electric windows, and that's pretty much it. So there is a market for it. And I might be lucky enough to undercut as well, because the Cape Town has quite a few specialists, but they charge Cape Town money. And I'm not, obviously I want to make a profit and have a reasonable labor rate per hour for the business at some stage when I start doing that. But it's still a good 150 to 300 rand an hour less than what the guys in Cape Town is going to charge you for the same work.
Okay, that's interesting. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know of any collectors or people that does this thing, so it's quite interesting. There's somebody I follow, different topic though, but somebody I follow on Instagram called Ponstein 4x4. I'm not exactly sure where they are, but they rebuild
Ponstein.
Land
They just
Rovers.
run a corner from me.
Ponstein.
They just run a
they're
corner
pretty
from us.
awesome. But also their market is export market. And
Yeah, I actually need to go to them because my wife is going to inherit a 1956 Land Rover 109 Series 1 single cab.
That'll be my wife's dream car.
And I'm
vehicle.
busy restoring it for the missus. I'm doing all the work myself. So I've
Wait,
stripped
hold
it.
on.
Wow.
What's this car called again? What's this thing?
1956 Land Rover 109 Series 1 single cab.
56 Land Rover. 1956 Land Rover?
109.
109.
It's the length of the chassis, the wheelbase in inches, and it's a Series 1, so it has the narrow front headlights, and it's a single cab bucky.
It's like a bucky, single cab bucky. Yeah.
So it's not the hard
it's a
top, and
Series
it's also
1
not the
Landy.
short.
Yeah, because you usually get the Defender 90s and the Defender 110s, Joe, if you've ever seen that.
No, they started out as 88, so the short wheelbase was an 88 inch, and the long wheelbase was 109 inch.
There we go.
Yeah, so Joe, strangely enough, the first picture at the top left, the first one, my wife's Land Rover is exactly the same color as that one. Exactly the same color.
Land Rover. Okay.
Yeah. Reese could choose a dream car that, a Land Rover, any Land Rover. I don't think she has a specific model.
Yeah. Now I'm
Maybe
busy
just a wheelbase,
restoring my
but-
wife's one,
Nice.
but I
Is
need
it
to go to
imported or South African?
No,
left-hand drive,
it is
right-hand drive,
imported.
whatever.
So it's actually a lovely story behind it. My wife's grandfather owned a workshop and a petrol station in Oakip. Now, Oakip is 8 kilometers outside of Springbok. It's a tiny town in the Northern Cape. And in 1956, he bought the Land Rover brand new. So it was built in Solihull and was imported to SA, and he bought it brand new in 1956 to tow vehicles. So I found it hilarious that he bought a Land Rover to tow vehicles, but granted, he bought the Land Rover brand new in 56. And then my father-in-law was taught how to drive in that Land Rover, and he also passed his driving test in that Land Rover.
Okay.
And
that's
it,
very
at some
interesting.
stage is coming through to Esty. So I told Esty, from my side, I'm going to restore it myself, because the lovely thing about those old Land Rovers, they literally put together like a Meccano set.
Mhm.
You
My
can basically
father-in-law-
strip the whole Land Rover with a 10, a 12, a 13, 14, and a 15-inch socket. And you can strip the whole thing to the chassis. So talking about Ponstein, I need to go to them because they're the only people I know of, apart from Necky's outside of Wellington, that has an original double plate copper head gasket. Because the other options is importing it, which is going to be stupidly expensive, or taking it to an engineer and hopefully being able to CNC it correctly. But I'm not willing to risk the CNC.
If you want to keep it original, yeah, because
Yeah.
Ponstein,
No.
they obviously love, they modify it. I think they're using some newer generation V8 in it. I can't remember what it was. It's some.
Yeah,
LS1 or
a
something,
a
V8 or
friend of
something.
mine is a manager at a very well-known workshop in Strand, and Ponstein every now and then will take the Land Rovers to my friend's workshop to put new tires on. And they did have a Defender there with a Ford 5-liter Coyote V8, the same V8 you get in the new Mustang GTs. And it's very, very well done. So they kept the air conditioning pump, the power steering pump, disc brakes. I'm not sure whether they kept the ABS module. I'm not sure about that. But essentially, the motor's still running on original software with regards to the fuel injection and so forth.
Wow.
And I obviously had to
So-
do an adapter plate for the transfer case and the gearbox and the clutch and things.
So hold on. I have a question. What is so special about this vehicle?
Well, restored their R500,000 first.
What?
Yes.
Starting off, you'll get.
Yes.
Yeah.
So restored like this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go for R500,000.
This is Land Rover, all the older ones, like I don't know exactly like which models and stuff, but like all the older ones, the same as the VW combis, old Mustangs. It's like, in that, I don't know,
$500,000.
era of cars and things. I mean, that is.
Remember, you need to take into account these Land Rovers were built as a response to the Willys Jeep. So a lot of British soldiers during the Second World War. That's not technically a Series 1. That's technically a Series 2A, based on the bumpers and the body panels. So that's not a genuine Series 1. So that's a bit later. That's early 60s. That's a Series 1.
Yeah, my father-in-law rebuilt a Series 3, I think. I don't know, Reese, if you know which one your dad rebuilt. But
They're a bit more
he rebuilt
affordable.
Series 3. And
They're a
then he
bit more
rebuilt old V8s, Defender 110 V8.
Ooh, those
as
are
well.
lovely. They came with the normal Rover 3.5 liter V8.
Yeah,
Reese
dude, that
says-
thing was not fast, but it went everywhere.
Reese
that thing to
says,
most
"What do you
people.
mean? Look at it! Oh my God, in love." I don't get it. I don't. I mean, I get that it's an old car and you restore it and it's a classic. I get that nostalgia of it. But I mean, in my personal opinion, this thing's ugly. Like, even if you restore it, it's ugly. I get that it's like a thing of history, and I get that. But I'm just saying, like, it's ugly. Sorry,
Well,
Reese. Sorry, Esty.
You need to look at the fact that firstly these things were built largely to be farming implements. So most of your farm implements you can bolt onto a tractor. You can bolt onto a Series 1 and a Series 2 Land Rover. So you can actually plow fields with it. They're very easy to maintain. They are well built for what they are. Obviously, they'll leak oil because old Land Rovers leak oil. Even new Land Rovers leak oil. So
They sweat awesome.
no, a Land Rover is the only car that will give itself an oil change while you sleep in the garage.
Yeah, but see, Chico's is like, classic cars are gorgeous. This one is not one of them. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Well, the thing is, obviously it's dependent on taste. That's all. There's a reason why they say beauty is the eye of the beholder. There are certain classic Mercedes-Benz that people don't find pretty. There are
Okay.
people that don't find the original Willys Jeep good looking. So it's dependent. Not all of us can own and look at something like, let's look at a gorgeous car from for example, the cities had some of the most beautiful cars because they were Art Deco inspired. So something like an Auburn 812, it's a Cord 812 and Auburn Speedster. But classic cars are good looking to different people. I like I like the Series 1 Land Rover. There's something very unique about it, something very utilitarian. I like the fact that first and second gear doesn't have a synchro mesh, so you have to double clutch to change gears.
Old school. Joe, go to watswaye.co.za.
No, they're
That's-
overpriced. They can go bugger themselves.
They are overpriced, but there's some
They are
pretty
extremely
calm-
overpriced.
See, like this is a fucking car, man.
Okay, but
What, a Ford
now
Mustang Boss 429? Yeah, but see, that's unattainable. That's a 3 million rand car.
yeah, that's
Okay, not 3, it's about 2. But still. And
See, now
obviously,
this
a
is
Shelby
nice.
Mustang GT500 KR. So you
Okay,
can't.
hold on. Shelby Mustang. What was the number? GT5R.
GT500 KR. So the KR was
G-
designated for King of the Roads. That's a 1968 model, and it came with a 428 Cobra jet. No, that's the new ones. Yes, there
Boom.
we
there
go.
we go.
Look at that. Now that's a sexy freaking car, man.
Okay, but that's a Super Snake. That's not a KR though. But yeah,
But for $2.2 million, buddy. Like, we would love to, but yeah, that is.
see, those things are okay though.
Well,
Shelby
500,000 rand
Mustangs.
is still a lot of money. Like to rebuild the thingy and then sell it for 500,000. That's a lot of money. That's more than
If
like
I-
a new car.
Before I do that, I would buy a rat rod. Like that
What's a
would be
rat
like
rod?
where I
Yeah,
would.
but then you have to
Right.
do
Rod.
a rat rod. Like there's a company
there we go.
but there's a company in Las Vegas called Welder Up. So basically a shortened version of Weld Her Up, where they do rat rods, but they do turbocharged Cummins diesel motors. So it's loud and it grumbles, and every time you put your foot down, it releases black diesel smoke. Because rat rods are meant to be annoying and obnoxious and kill trees.
Damn. Look
Yes,
at this one.
killers.
That's not actually a rat rod. That's actually called something
Yeah.
called a gasser. It's a style of
This-
drag
this
car
right?
from the 50s and the
That
60s.
I like.
That's a rat
something
rod.
like that. Yeah, something like that.
I
I'm
can
not gonna
see
be
Yanni
too
driving
picky.
this. I can
I'm
see
not going to
Yanni
be too
driving
picky,
this.
but just I'll be chilled with that.
I
But
can
dude,
see
Welder Up
you in this.
is such a nice look at these things, Joe. Like this is freaking amazing.
Now, like I said, they put in turbocharged Cummins diesel motors in theirs. So you can
Yeah,
think what
but
the
dude-
torque figure is on those things.
But except for that, look at how they preserve the rust and
patina.
everything. Like this is just wow.
Okay, so that's Welder Up. And this is
Wow.
okay, so this
Yeah,
is
click on the Facebook page. Sorry,
is-
their pages. You need to go to
No,
the Facebook page.
they're overpriced and terrible human beings.
the
I'm
is
sure
this
they
what's
are.
why yai?
But
Yeah,
so
but click on the
yay.
Facebook link. Sorry, I didn't realize. See, there's a 1972 Merc here for like 200,000 rand. I don't know if that's a lot of money or not. 1972 W108 280 SE automatic.
For how much?
You
199. It's a bit down if you scroll down. There we go. No, a bit more down, Joe. It's a blue one, a blue Merc.
this one.
Like I follow
Yeah.
these guys on Facebook. It's pretty cool cars to look at. It's expensive, I know, but
The thing
Yeah.
is, that car is worth that price if the mileage is under 200,000. It has a full service history, spare sets of keys, original toolkit, original first aid kit, and original radio.
Well, let's
Then
see.
you can have that price.
She is a college. Unfortunately, she has no books or manuals, but is recently serviced and given a once over. So there you go.
Yeah, the sad reality is that fact alone makes it about 165 to 180 grand.
Wow. Well, apparently, this is her original color as well as interior. Seats were covered in wool, and the steering wheel in a leather wrap, which was removed recently, and this preserved the vehicle's originality.
Yeah, but
Seats
the
were in
sad
good
thing is it's still 20,000 rand more than what it should be.
Tires are in
That's the
fair
problem.
condition.
Yeah, but if you buy a classic car and you don't get perfect tires on it, you can't really complain because it is a classic car. And if you're willing to overpay for Mercedes like that, I think you can afford 195, 65 14s.
Yeah, but it's 200,000. I mean, is that expensive?
It's overpriced for that car.
Huh.
That's
So what?
108. Like I said, that's 165 to 180 on a good day.
Okay.
There's another
If
one.
it had
for
all the
80,000.
books, then it could defend the price. That's why, obviously, they do business. Obviously, they are in business. They are selling to people, but sadly, most of the times they're not selling to collectors, because the harsh reality is a collector is more likely to know what it's worth.
Check out this baby.
This
That's
car
a
does
nice
have some
one.
really nice cars. It's nice to look at least. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
it
yeah.
is. It is. It is. Don't get me wrong. But if you want to have a
Prices.
better idea of what things are, yes, is it that station wagon that's overpriced? Or is it just a normal 1, 2,
This
3?
is a W123. I don't know if it's a station wagon.
Isn't this
It's
the
a
one you
normal.
had, Macau?
But I have a 200. That looks like a 230, I think.
This is a 230 manual. Well done.
Aha! I was right.
Wow.
Okay, so it clocks at 223,000 kilometers, runs exceptionally well. Replaced tires recently replaced. She's in good usable condition, one would hope so. Interior very clean, bodywork straight in good condition. There has been paint work done. All paperwork is in order and up to date. She has books present as well. Jack and spare wheel also present. Yeah, this one sounds good.
And how much?
80,000.
80K. Go to the
That's
next one. I
that's
don't like.
actually the only car so far that should be priced there, because my car has my 200 has a full service history with Mercedes-Benz, spare keys, original radio, original first aid kit, original toolkit, original jack, and mine. Okay, obviously I can't appraise my own cars. I can appraise other people's Mercedes, but obviously be a bit subjective to do my own cars. But mine was recently appraised at 80,000.
Nice. Look at this one. Damn. See, now these are good looking cars, man. This one's
Yeah,
a little
but
bit ugly.
Yeah, but the problem is with the front is they didn't space out the front wheels.
Would have looked nicer. Yeah.
So you still have a lot of fender.
Mhm.
But again, in my mind, these would all be like collectors' vehicles or classics. It doesn't matter who
Yeah, but
buys
that
it or whatever. But I
the
mean,
thing is that's a street rod though.
yeah,
It's
fair
not
enough.
it's
but
not an
it's a
original.
very- Yeah, as a collector, you would want originals. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously you get people
Even
now
this
see
is
that
nice.
car
Dodge
car
Charger.
piqued my interest because that car is
This one.
actually
That's
priced
nice.
quite fairly.
Really? What price is this? Where's the price?
Sold though.
Oh,
It was
sold.
priced at about 1.2 million when I last looked at it. But that
What?
was a fair price for it.
1.2 million. Damn, look at this thing.
Come on,
Yeah,
it's a
there's a 69
1968 Dodge
Fastback
Charger
as well.
500 with matching numbers. It has a 383 Magnum with the 4-barrel carb on it. And it's a matching numbers car. That price was actually surprisingly fair. I was kind of shocked when I saw them advertise the car for that price.
Wow. I didn't know this place even existed.
Reese would want that. That Land
It's
Cruiser.
a FJ Cruiser, FJ45. Oh, but that's basically the Japanese version of the Land Rover Series 1.
Mhm.
Okay,
looks like
based on
a-
the age. Technically a Series 2, but
This looks like
I would
the
just not
Land
choose
Rover.
that brown though.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
about to
really?
say this one looks like this looks like the shit that the Land Rover shat out.
I'm going to be honest, if the wheels weren't grey, if the wheels were in an off-white, that would be actually a good-looking color combination. But I'm not a fan of the wheels.
This
Oh,
is
man.
beautiful, dude. 69 Fastback.
Hmm.
And it's a right-hand drive.
No, why did it do
Man alive.
If it's right-hand drive, it's an Australian import.
Dude, that is
There's
pretty.
yeah, that's right hand.
Yeah, that is very pretty. Like, that's my Eleanor.
I like the black. The black is.
It's not technically Eleanor, but
No, it's
So-
not. Yeah. But there's a company that has the rights to make Eleanors, eh? That's pretty awesome.
yeah, but there's a very irritating story about that company though, in the US. Now, the original Gone in 60 Seconds came out in 1976. And the original movie does have a car called Eleanor, but it's a 1971 Ford Mustang Mach 1. And when the writer and producer of that movie passed away, his wife inherited the rights to the name Eleanor. And obviously with the 2000 movie of Nicolas Cage, they recast Eleanor as a 67 Shelby Mustang. You've got quite a few companies thereafter that went and bought recreations, which is awesome. But they could never name the cars Eleanor, either officially or unofficially, because the wife owned the rights to the name. Now, the problem came, there's a guy with a YouTube channel called B is for Bold.
Yes.
And he was planning on taking a newer Mustang, so I think about a 2008 Ford Mustang, and doing a modern recreation of Eleanor. So it'd still be silver metallic with the 2 GT stripes, and the body kit would be quite similar to the car. But she went to court and had him do a cease and desist on the car purely because he used Eleanor in one of the video's names, and he referred to the car as Eleanor. And she not only won the cease and desist court case, she also got possession of the car. So the company that builds the cars in the US have the rights, and obviously she gets profits from it. But because she's monetized the name, any other guy that's a fan of the movie can't go out and build Eleanor and call it Eleanor, because then she's going to come and cease and desist and take it away, which I think is bullshit, because people that build the 18 van don't have that problem. People in the US that build the General Lee from Dukes of Hazzard, which is Dodge Charger, they don't have that problem. There's a company in the US that builds recreation from the Fast and the Furious movies. They don't have that problem. And then there's one company in the East Coast of the US that does the Cadillac ambulance from the original Ghostbusters. And they don't have those issues. But she had to be a dick and spoil cars for everyone. So she can go fuck herself.
It would be nice to own an Eleanor, though. It'd be nice.
So this is the welder up.
Yeah.
Get her done.
So 9 out of 10 times they do rat rods, but they drop in a turbocharged Cummins diesel motor. And then it puffs a lot of black smoke, which is awesome. Yes, it kills a few pigeons and trees in the process, but it's still awesome.
Priuses and stuff like that, Teslas, whatever.
I see Yanni with this one. I don't know why. It's got the dog. It's got the bulldog type of thing here.
Very nice, though.
Well, the hood ornament for the original Mack trucks was actually a bulldog, so that's not an afterthought. It's actually just keeping it.
Oh my word! There's a alligator's head here.
Yep, for the transmission tunnel.
It's pretty cool.
Don't mess with Texas. Hell yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. This one looks. I definitely see Yanni with this, man. I don't know why, but this is a Yanni car.
Fine though, hey.
Man, there it is. The bulldog.
That's very cool. Have you ever watched Hoonigan? You know Hoonigan?
I follow their YouTube channel, obviously because of Ken Block. There's some interesting builds they bring to their show.
There is, hey. There was one guy that had that blue truck as well, which was also like this, like the rust was just like clear coated and whatever, and he kind of like preserved it, but it was insane what those guys did with their cars. It's a pretty cool channel, though.
But the guys of Hoonigan have got quite a few cool cars themselves. So the one guy from Hoonigan has an RWB Porsche. I'm not a Porsche fan, but an RWB Porsche is good looking. The other one has a ridiculous Mazda RX-7 drift car. The other guy's got a 55 Chevy Bel Air Gasser, so drag car basically. And then there's a 68, or is it the 72 Chevy Nova, also a drag car. They've got some really interesting builds. And obviously Ken Block has got some ridiculous cars that in his own collection as well.
Yeah, he's got some insane cars. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, dude. It's a few cars I wouldn't mind owning.
Well, if you take into account, I said my short list is 10 Mercedes, and I'm only halfway
That's
there
your
now.
What?
Yeah,
That's
but
my
you
short
buy
list.
and sell, so I'm sure you've been to 10 at some point.
Yeah, but I've played it smart. I've bought Mercedes that has one thing that won't make me keep them. So I prefer to buy and sell W123 Mercedes, because I know them the best. I've ordered Mercedes as the car, the model series I know like the back of my hand. So every 123 I've ever bought has been a manual, so not worth keeping. Then I recently, during lockdown, I bought a Mercedes-Benz station wagon because they're actually worth a bit more money. But it had the 2.6 liter V6 in it, which I absolutely hate. So didn't. And then
Wasn't there a Merc? Sorry, go for it.
Sorry?
Wasn't there a Merc that the first gear was like bottom left, like where your second gear would be, and then your second gear would be with
No,
third gear would be
Mercedes-Benz,
like
the old manual Mercedes has a dog leg reverse gear.
Okay. Somewhere I saw a car, I think it was in Top Gear or something, where they tested.
Yeah, it
these
was a
old
190
cars,
E 2.316 valve. Every time he tried to shift, instead of second gear, he would put it in reverse.
Yeah.
Because it has a dog leg reverse gear.
Okay. Yeah. Why Mercedes?
That's why you buy auto Mercedes. They don't have that problem.
No, that's interesting. So, Joe, we hogged the show talking about cars.
That's fine. I don't mind. It's funny you should say chat. So we chat about anything and everything. Yeah. No, I can admire classic cars, man. I don't know as much as Mikhail and clearly Yanni knows, but
Carl knows quite a bit.
well, when is your thing, Mikhail? Now with the car thing, when is that happening?
So I'm aiming. Hopefully, we can have the next one going the first Sunday in February of next year. Because obviously we had a good following. We'd been going about 7 months before lockdown started.
What's it called?
And we really started growing. If you take into account, we started with something ridiculous like 8 cars, and within 7 months we almost started hitting 20 to 30 cars.
What's it called?
It's called Craft and Classics. Because Red Sky Brew is obviously a craft brewery, so instead of calling it Cars and Coffee, we called it Craft and Classics. On my Instagram, I don't know obviously if people can see it now, but on my Instagram, mostly used for cars, and I do have quite a few Instagram posts from Craft and Classics, with the display and some of the cars that have come through.
Well, this one says
so that's a
it's still going
Facebook
to
event.
happen on the
Yeah,
6th
okay,
of
obviously with
December.
lockdowns, those have now become invalid, sadly. But the next one we're aiming to get going is the first Sunday in February. That's the one we really want to get going. And it's hosted by Red Sky Brew, which is the local craft brewery here in Gordons Bay.
So these guys are still alive and going.
The guy on the right, Timothy's no longer working there, but Ryan is brewmaster, so he's still there. But most of the management staff are still there. It's just Timothy's now gone and done his own thing, and he's doing surprisingly well with it. So I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, I like their beer. It's really good beer. trying to look for if they have any pictures of this event of yours.
They're supposed to. Otherwise, like I said, it's on my Instagram.
Look
Yeah, the
at
owner
that.
Clint is a massive motorcycle fan and has a massive motorcycle collection. So inside Red Sky Brew, they actually have a display area for some of his motorcycles. So
Oh, wait, here
there's
we
one or
go.
two
This
craft and
one's-
classic photos.
Oh,
Nice.
AC Cobras, dude.
Ooh, my Mercedes-Benz C-Class is in the picture. Yay!
Nice.
Lotus 7,
nice.
but obviously a replica.
So where people come from? Like all over Cape Town or only Somerset West?
Helderberg and the larger Cape Town area. So the second last one we had in February, we actually had the Morris Minor Club of South Africa drop by because they were doing a breakfast run, and someone informed them of, that guy won the competition for that day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
He
we
gets
have
a
we
chicken.
have best of go, which means the person with not necessarily the most expensive car, but either the most good looking or the best restored or the best customized. Yeah, it's me. They win. They win the prize of the month. So that massive steel chicken you saw that he was holding, we make brass plates. And then if you're the winner for that month, your name, your car, and the month gets engraved on the brass plate, and it gets pop riveted to the giant display chicken.
Oh, that's cool.
Some of
That's
these
an
are really
amazing
cool.
build. So that guy has a Datsun 521 Bucky, but he dropped in a 13B Mazda Rotary with a massive turbo that eats pigeons and
Wow.
small children when it starts spooling. But the whole thing is custom. So in the
sounds
load
amazing.
bay at the back, he's got a wine barrel that he's turned into a cooler box. It's an insanely well built car. So
Do you have a
he also
picture of the
won.
back?
Yeah,
Nah, it doesn't.
I think there might be a photo on my Instagram of the back. So he won the 1 month. He won best of go as well. And then if you win best of go, we started out with a bar tab. Then you win a bar tab, and now there's we're starting to look at actually getting hampers. So you win a Red Sky cap and a T-shirt, things like that. So we are looking at just amping up the prices as well.
I'm just gonna try and look for your thingamabob,
I'll send you the link,
Me-
Joe. Other chat.
Mikhail.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right. So, and the restoration of the Land Rover is also on there. I've just been very behind with the updates. So the ones with the Morris Minor and the motorcycles are of Red Sky, the event, and then the one with the red Mercedes is my collection. Yeah, so that's some of the photos from. Yeah, so that's a Morris Minor Club that dropped by.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay.
That was half a day at the Land Rover strip to there.
Okay, I see how this works now. Hey, look at that. Of course, you take a photo of the thingy. I'm looking for that custom car, man.
Yeah, that's my car collection.
Oh, is this your car collection? Hold on. Okay,
Yeah.
wait. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Isn't that the same one? 5. Nice. This one's nice. I've never seen you drive this one.
Okay.
And then there's this one. There's the one.
Yeah, there's the Datsun. I think I have a photo of the back. Yeah, I've got a photo of the motor because that he wrapped the whole intake, so it looks like all the engine parts are actually made from wood. So it's actually quite cool. So the turbo's been wrapped.
With the heat.
No.
Go back to the
there's
first
no-
picture. You can see a little bit of the back of that one, of that backy.
It's supposed to be on one of those. I think it's supposed to
Oh
be.
wait, there.
You zoom
Okay.
in on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got a wine barrel that he uses as a cooler box.
It's pretty cool.
Man, but these are all cool. What's up with the teddy bear?
These cars are actually local built. So if you go back to the previous one, that orange and red car is a local, just in Musenberg of all places. They do kit cars. So you can go in, you can ask what color the car needs to be, what engine, a gearbox combination, suspension, tire sizes, everything. And they do a run once a month. And they do a charity run, and that Teddy was part of the charity run they did. And it's now just become like a permanent member of the club. So every time they have a run, it gets strapped in with a 4-point racing harness, and it goes wherever the club goes.
Is that your Mercedes there?
Yeah, that's mine.
Just gotta slot yours in.
I said the
somewhere.
one rule is I will help them organize the event, but I always get a parking space out front for display purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, some pretty cool cars.
Yeah, that's a Mercedes-Benz. Yeah, those ones are going to now is a Mercedes-Benz club run I did in September. We went to the Franschhoek Motor Museum.
Sure.
But there was almost 50 cars. We were meant to be like 20 cars, and we ended up being 50 cars.
Wow.
Damn, look at this.
Those are nice. That second one from the left. But yeah, that one.
That's the roadster version of my red Mercedes.
Damn.
So that's an
That's very cool.
R107. I have a C107.
Okay, Coupe. Coupe was roadster.
It's so cool to see how it's evolved over the years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
If you go to the other one, so yeah, the first one top left. If you go to that one, I think I have the 300 SL Roadster in the picture, in one of the pics. That car on the left, that's 19 million rand.
This one.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's
19
million.
million.
Yep, 19.
Damn. 19 million, right?
Oh, dude, that's special. Wow.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
Very cool.
Interesting.
So as people can see, my Instagram is only used for car pictures.
Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. Let me just see here. Yeah. Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Could say anything? No, not really. I think we don't have a lot of car fanatics tonight, guys. Just saying.
Well, unfortunately for them, I can talk about cars for months, not days, not weeks, for months at end. But I'm lucky that Storm, who's been on the channel and has his own channel as well, we've done one episode of Turbo Tuesday where we do this. But the whole point of this is just talking cars. So I need to get back to him at some stages again to do it again, because that's fun. Because Storm is a big car fan and an avid Ford enthusiast. So we are trying to get another episode going at some stage for Turbo Tuesday. So that's a lot of fun. But yeah, I think, Joe, you've known me long enough. I'm absolutely car nuts. It's, apart from my wife, my family, my friends, it is my sole focus in life and where most of my money goes constantly.
That's pretty cool.
Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all.
Apparently keeps me out of trouble. I don't know how much, but it does keep me out of trouble.
I don't believe that for 1 second. Trouble follows you everywhere, my friend.
That is quite true.
Oh, I see.
But I'm not
Everywhere.
because of cars. I'm not in trouble as often as I would be.
Some cars would get you in trouble though, because we last year when we went to Cape Town, we rented or hired's the word, 3 AC Cobras from Cape Cobra Hire for the day, and then we took the Cobras around like Cape Town and I can't
Wait a
remember.
second.
We went.
Now I gotta know what the hell is an AC Cobra.
You pasted the picture. Hold on, I'll put you the link in chat.
It was on my. There were 3 on my
Private
Instagram.
AC
Like private chats.
Cobra.
Yeah, and those guys were awesome. It's not original AC Cobras though, but
No, obviously because
they
no one
were-
has 25 million rand
no.
25 million rand.
for an original.
Why?
Yeah, but dude, like that was so much fun. Getting the Cobras and just chilling. Like, it was really hard not to go and make donuts everywhere because you're not allowed to. Like the cars have trackers and all kind of stuff in it. But dude, open top, V8, raw, no this and that. It was so much fun. Taking those cars out, and these 3 cars chilling like through Strand, Gordons Bay, all the way out. I can't remember how far we went. We went around. I forgot what it's
Probably
called
went to
now.
Royals.
Royals, yes, all the way past there. Had like lunch there.
It's a lovely
Dude,
driving
those
road.
cars, just wow. We have
Now
a video
that
of it
road-
somewhere.
That road got me in trouble because the week after my wife handed in her thesis, about 3 weeks ago, she went with a friend to a holiday house in Betty's Bay, which is just slightly further onwards from Royals.
Mhm.
Now, you've been on that road. When I went to go pick her up, I did Gordons Bay to Royals in 13 minutes.
Oh wow. Okay, so you were using all of the road.
Yes.
It's a nice wide road that and there's some really nice corners. Like, dude, you have no idea. These cars are so cool. And when you get out, and they warn you, like when you get out, like watch your leg. And yeah,
Oh,
No.
because of the exhaust
pipe,
that's
yeah,
there.
dude.
Shit.
Yeah, I had a snake bite. So
Yeah. I was lucky enough.
But-
I'm one of those fortunate people. I've done my advanced driving course. And before my occupation, before what I'm doing now, I worked for a limousine and exotic car rental company in Cape Town, which
nice.
obviously is very much up my
That's
alley.
lovely.
And we did a track day for clients. And I was very fortunate enough to be given permission and be paid extra to take our Ferrari that was in our fleet to Killarney and absolutely drive the living hell out of it.
Oh, I've got
Nice.
goosebumps. Holy crap, that must have been nice.
Now, it was a 2007 Ferrari F430 Spider,
What a-
and the clients, not even us, the clients booked a full day at Killarney, and I had to obviously sign certain indemnity forms and the insurance forms, and I was given a petrol card, and they told me, go make clients happy and come back only when they're happy. I'm not going to say the client was in the car with me that often around the track, but he got a few
They were
circuits of it.
That's also open top. The F430 Spider was an open top, eh?
Yeah, but obviously for aerodynamic purposes, I put the roof up. So I did put the roof up,
Okay.
and I didn't switch off I switched off the traction control all the way. So you have on the Ferrari, you have basically 3.5 settings. So you have full traction control, then you have intermediate, then you have track, and then you have a final one where you twist it and you hold it, and it puts the car into race, and it completely shuts off all the nannying. So no traction control, no computers
That's
whatsoever.
raw.
So you have to keep the car on control. So you have to check your braking. You have to feed it out of a corner. So obviously I went all the way into a race, and absolutely hooned it around Killarney, and that was so much
wow.
fun. And to know I was paid extra on top of my salary. I was paid extra for that day.
Yeah, such a tough job. Such a tough day.
Yeah, it was really, really, really difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine. Wow.
Yeah, it sounds exhausting.
Yeah. So we had quite a few exotics in the collection. So every now and then my manager would tell me, listen, the owner of the company is feeling like driving the Ferrari. You don't mind taking the Ferrari and go collecting the Maserati from his house. I'm like, I can think of worse things to do. Yes, I'll do it. And then drive all the way to Bloberg and go drop off a Ferrari and pick up a Maserati and drive back.
You know what I imagine, Joe? I imagine Mikhail, if you ever watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where they handed his friend's Ferrari and then that guy with the long hair and the pony that, like, I'll look after it, and they took his dad's Ferrari out. Like, that's how I imagine Mikhail, that poor Ferrari, like...
No, around the track, I obviously behaved with regards to driving. So I made sure of my lines, your braking points. But the one
you want
day,
to enjoy it.
Yeah. And the moment you start doing track racing, if you do circuit racing, it starts becoming a thrill because you want to see how late you can brake and how tight you can take a corner. So you ease into it more and more and more and more. And that's a thrill. But I've handed in my resignation after, as luck would have it, shortly thereafter, I had a big fight with my employer. And he had a Porsche Panamera GTS as well. And we had to go drop off the car at his holiday home in Langebaan and go pick up his Lexus LX 470 SUV. And I was given the job. Well, Cape Town, basically Goodwood to Langebaan, it's a good hour and it's a nice piece of road. That N7 is lovely. And obviously I wasn't very happy with my employer, and I had given my resignation. So at some point I might have been 2.5 times the speed limit. But I'm like, I don't like you anymore, and my resignation is in. By the time your speeding ticket comes, I've already started my new job. So
prove it.
And it was the only car in the fleet that didn't have a tracker.
Oh, of course,
nice.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice.
Naughty.
So,
naughty,
but I've actually slowed down quite a bit.
He knows now.
Well.
All right, boys. We are 2 minutes out from closing. So, Gentle Inflatable says, well, actually, Behave Z307 says, Roy Else is a dream to ride, especially on 2 wheels. Okay. And then Gentle Inflatable says, drifting, lol.
Drifting is a lot of fun. That is a lot of fun to do.
Otto Duplessis Road
to Langebaan. That's the one I absolutely hooned the Porsche.
No speed.
Sounds like Gentle knows.
Yeah. Gentle does a bit of racing in her spare time, I think.
But it is a lovely drive. But drifting is a lot of fun. A colleague of mine at the previous occupation was good friends with DJ Reddy D. He's a famous DJ from Cape Town, but he's also a very good drifter. He takes part in the South African drifting competition. And my colleague had organized a day out at Killarney where him and his drift team was setting up cars for the next round of the championship. So with drifting is mostly setting up suspension and your camber for your turn in. And we were given the opportunity to drift his car on they use the go-kart track every now and then for drifting. And that was a lot of fun as well. He was just upset with me because I told him his car needs a bit more power to do a proper drift. He dropped in, he had an SR20 DET motor. He was doing about 400 kilowatt, which is basically the furthest you can take that engine with a turbo. But with drifting, the whole point is you want to lose traction as quickly as possible.
You can keep it in that spin, yeah.
And so you can put it in a controlled spin, but that 400 kilowatt is enough to do it on an S13 Nissan chassis, but you need a bit more.
But they seem to love those cars for drifting, because there was guys up here in Joburg as well. We could go for flips, you like pay, and then they take you for like drift flips like around the track, but they were driving, we weren't driving. And they love those Nissans.
No, it's a great chassis. It's a great chassis, but the original 2-liter it came with the turbo. It's a great motor, but the speed drifting, the speed has increased dramatically over the past 8 years for drifting. The way the entry speeds and the speeds they drift at in general, and that SR20 is just a bit too weak. So Yanni, you'd know what I'm talking about. So you would start looking at putting an RB26, which is a Skyline engine. Or you would start looking at putting in a Supra motor. Two JZs are great motors. I'm not a personal fan of it. And then you've got guys in the US that take Nissan 350Zs, but then they drop in Corvette motors. So they put in a 6-liter or 6.2-liter Chevrolet Corvette motor. So you can have more power.
There's a guy I follow on YouTube. He's an Australian or New Zealand guy, Mad Mike Widdett.
The rotary man. That guy, what he does to rotaries is nuts.
Did you see what he did with this Lamborghini, dude? That's sacrilege almost. Like,
Yeah, but he stole that idea because Daigo Saito from Japan, he's part of the Monster Energy drifting championship team in Japan. He took a Lamborghini Murcielago and converted it into a drift car. And as much as sacrilege as it is, hearing a Lamborghini V12 drift with open throttle bodies, it's a good sound. It's a really good sound it makes.
Let's be honest. But I prefer his rotaries, though. I prefer the RX-8s and the RX-7s and stuff that he has.
But even the MX-5. Remember, that's a quad rotor. Yeah. So it's a 2630B, so it's a 4 rotor. It's about a 2.6-liter rotary. And they howl. There's nothing like a rotary sound. There's very few things that come close to the howl a rotary makes, especially a quad rotor.
Yeah, I put the link in chat, Joe, in private chat. Dude, this guy's insane. I followed him for years. I mean, but he's pretty.
Is it a red?
He's like up there with like what's his name? We spoke about him just now.
Well, Mad Mike has won more competitions, so rounds of a championship, than Ken Block. But they are, so that's his RX-7, and the MX-5 is there, and then the RX-8 is in the back. And he also owns a Mazda REPU. So in the US, you could buy a Mazda Bucky with a rotary motor. And he owns one that he imported to New Zealand.
Yeah, this guy also has a tough job, eh? Really
it must be quite difficult building fast Mazdas, being sponsored by Red Bull, and then every 2 weeks you get paid to be an absolute hooligan.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a really tough job, guys. I couldn't
stress.
I couldn't imagine, the stress, the pressure,
Is that the fact this guy gets invited to the Goodwood Festival Speed, which is just not only just to go look, but to take part in the Goodwood Festival Speed. That's the most difficult thing I think of as his job, is having to fly to the UK to go to the most prestigious hill climb and dick about.
Yeah, there's some cool cars at the Goodwood though. I enjoy watching that.
It's on my bucket list.
Really cool
it's
cars.
on my bucket list to go to, and I would like to one day, because 1 or 2 South Africans have been invited with the cars they've built. So the first wish list is to actually just go watch the timed hill climb, because I've been that weirdo that live streams the hill climb every year like clockwork. So I'll sit a whole day and look at people drive up a hill really quickly. But I would like to bold
Yeah.
an absolutely nutty Mercedes and actually get invited to take the car there and take part in it.
Do you have to be invited though? Anybody can go and watch, but to take part, you can't just enter because there's some really
No, you
cool
can't
cars
just
that
enter.
people
So obviously, famous Formula One drivers and NASCAR drivers and those
Yeah.
guys are invited. So they've had Nico Rosberg be there, Nick Heidfeld's be there, Lewis Hamilton has been there, and then England still has a very healthy British Touring Car Championship, so they always have about 4 or 5 current British Touring Car Championship drivers take their race cars and take part. 1 or 2 famous NASCAR drivers, and then, for example, Ken Block has been invited more than once, and more they do a drifting exhibition. So the guys taking part in the US Drifting Championship. So Ken Block, Mad Mike, Matt Gittin Jr. Those guys are starting to be invited, and then obviously a lot of your manufacturers take cars as well. So Porsche has made use of Walter Röhrl, the famous German rally driver. Sebastian Loeb's been there. Peter Solberg has taken part. But then you have guys that are either great car collectors that get invited because they might have a historically important race car. And then for, the South Africans that were invited, they bought a E21 BMW 320i Group 5 race car from scratch. And it was a replica of a famous race car from the 70s. But they bought it it wasn't BMW, it was the Zack Speed Ford Escort. And they bought it literally to the exact dimensions of what the original race car was in the 70s. And they got invited to take part because of the build and them following it gained over social media, the whole process. But it's usually invite only. I think people like Lewis Hamilton and bless his soul, Michael Schumacher get well soon. I think people like that can just walk in because of who they are. But in general, race drivers, whether retired or not, and car collectors with millions and millions of pounds of race cars, those people, all of them have to be invited. You can't just go, listen, I've got a 50 million rand Ferrari, can I take part? It's not really how it works.
Yeah, there's some interesting cars and stuff that makes it there sometimes. Even like those trucks that goes up there, the electric cars and all those things. Pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a lot of fun. So this year, obviously, with COVID, they didn't have the Goodwood Festival of Speed, but about 3 weeks ago, they did have a time trial because Goodwood is on a Lord. What's the Lord's name again? Lord something. It's on his private estate, the hill climb, and they do rallying as well. So they do a time attack for rallying once a year as well, which is very exciting because the Group B rally cars are the scariest things ever made. So they did a time attack, which basically Joe time attack is you've got 1 lap to do the track as quick as possible. You don't even get a warm-up lap. You start and you finish. So they had some famous Le Mans race cars, the original Skyline GTR race car from the late 80s, early 90s that got the nickname Godzilla, a GT LM Ford Mustang. So that's also quite cool because it's cars that you grew up seeing in games like Gran Turismo, or if you've watched Formula One from the 90s. It's things you've only seen race around the track, and now you've got these cars actually competing against another for the quickest lap time around the track. Because in no normal world would you see a 1993 Nissan Skyline R32 GTR in full Japanese touring car championship spec take on a 1992 Formula One car on the same track to see who's the quickest. And that's the cool thing. But obviously the hill climb as well. The fact that you have a NASCAR taking on a touring car in the same day for the fastest time. So they really have some really cool things going there. So it's on my wish list. No, Joe does look cock forward.
VW also had that cool cars up in there, which I liked. Also VW.
Sorry, I'm listening. I don't have anything valuable to add to the conversation. I really don't. I just got to take your word for it. You know, talking about Goodwood. I thought you were talking about Goodwood in Cape Town.
Any
It
Goodwood,
turns
Goodwood, not the one next to Paro.
and I'm impressed with Gentle Inflatables because she says loved watching the stock cars at old Goodwood showgrounds. Is that the same Goodwood, or is she also confused with
No,
Goodwood?
the Goodwood used to have used to talk about an Afrikaans used to talk about an asbaan or an ash track. So it's not dirt, it's actual ash that's compacted. So it's basically grassroots, like what NASCAR started out in the 50s, and they would have stock cars race on ash. So a lot of power slides. The car's asses are basically constantly out. But sadly, it's a motorsport in South Africa that's dying a very slow death due to a lack of sponsors. So a lot of tracks have closed down. Goodwood's old showgrounds are one of them. Basically, in the Western Cape on its own, there aren't really any tracks anymore. If you want to do it, Kraaifontein or Kales River used to have one, but that closed recently. So most people have to go out to Worcester to go run stock cars.
There's still Killarney racetrack.
Yeah, but Killarney isn't for stock cars. That's a track. So they have a go-kart track. They have a race circuit. They have a skid pan that is used for advanced driving courses, but the skid pan also doubles as part of the drifting course. And then what I used to do in university is every second Friday evening, they used to have drag racing. It used to be the back straight, but the back straight is a bit too unsafe for drag racing because there's a dip at the end. So now they use the main straight for drag racing. Now I used to compete in university, so every second Friday.
That was like an oval track, wasn't it, at Goodwood?
Yeah, it was a pure normal stock car oval track.
Yeah, oval
back
track.
in the day.
Yeah.
And the guy in the comments has now just mentioned Street to Strip. That is the events I used to go to and take part in.
Yeah. I'm going to call it here, guys, because I do need to go and have dinner.
Oh, Yanni and I are having so much fun. We could always talk about gaming in 2 weeks.
Oh, now I saw Yanni's face light up there.
Gaming? Really?
Because Cyberpunk 2077 is finally being released.
Dude, I'm this far from pre-ordering and buying. Like, don't.
Dude, do it. Just do it. It's Cyberpunk. Firstly, it's CD Projekt Red, which makes the best things ever.
I'm just going to cut the stream. I'm going to have to cut it.
Or Joe, you can just leave. Can't you leave and then Yanni and I will keep on going?
Yeah.
Hey Yanni, why don't you have your first live stream on your channel and you guys can talk about gaming? He's actually seriously contemplating it. I can see it on his face.
No.
Look, Flip, if you guys want to talk about gaming next time, why not? And then hopefully we'll have the guys with us as well and they can give in their point of view. I mean, Yanni and I wouldn't mind talking about gaming. So yeah, why not?
And games that they have to bring back.
Oh, that's a good one. Games that they have to bring back. I like that one. This is similar to what Yanni and I discussed as well.
Yeah, but not reboots. I see certain franchises that either flopped with sequels that actually need a good, honest look again. Or just franchises that need to be brought back. So, for example, Medal of Honor is up there. And hopefully one day someone will make a Duke Nukem that didn't fall flat on its ass.
Serious time.
All right, so
that'll be a cool topic.
Yeah, let's talk about that in 2 weeks' time.
And Dangerous Dave. They need to bring back Dangerous Dave.
Yeah, funny you should say that, chat. Once again, thank you everybody who tuned in. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. It was very nice to listen to Mikhail's knowledge of cars and also Yanni, who was able to keep up. It looks like it. I didn't know Yanni was such a fan of cars. So I learned something about these guys today. And yeah, we're going to talk about gaming next time. I'll see if the guys, Vanner and Obeking, will join us. I hope they will. And that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining. If you enjoyed this conversation, look, this is a show where we just talk about anything and everything. We talk cock. So if you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe. We'll see you at the next one. Tomorrow night, I have another show with Mikhail as well, Obeking and Bevan. We're going to be roasting the headlines. Comedians roast the headlines. We've scoured the headlines, international, local, sports, celebs, you name it. And we find the funniest headlines and we make fun of those headlines. So please come join us. It's one of our best shows on this channel. So please come check it out tomorrow evening, 8:30 p.m. And if I don't see you there, ladies and gentlemen, then please stay safe, be kind to one another, and I'll see you at the next one. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes.